The war with the humans should have been a quick and easy one. Send in the Blood Elf army and sit back on our thrones and laugh as per usual. At first it was always like that, for who could stand against the kingdom of the High Elves? Our magic knows no equal. Our Blood Elf warriors are the most elitely trained and equipped with the finest of magical swords and bows. Our Wood Elf and Grey Elf slaves provide all the labour we need to sustain an economy during wartime. Indeed, these various lesser subspecies have served loyally throughout wars against the dwarves, dragons, orcs, and the civil war that resulted in the banishment of the Dark Elves. Now the disgusting Wood and Grey Elves were revolting against their betters, forcing us to send some legions of Blood Elves back right as we were on the cusp of victory. Then the humans began to get better guns of distinctly dwarven design. Next, orc raids began to become increasingly common, even keeping more of our legions tied down. This is the point where I became frustrated myself. Next, many of our fellow High Elves began to be assassinated in distinctly Dark Elf manners. Then, of course, because all our other enemies had returned, the dragons showed up to start attacking our fortresses and ransacking our vaults. "So how did you do it?" I asked the pitiful human, chained to the cold cobblestone floor of the dungeon. "How did you control all of them?" I demanded to the creature. I got no response. Was it magic? Only 1% of humans could use magic, and none could rival even a newborn High Elf. Was it blackmail? No. That didn't make sense. How do you blackmail a dragon? I hate having to ask these kinds of questions because it makes me feel stupid. But I'm not stupid. I'm a High Elf, a member of the greatest race to have ever lived, and will ever live. These puny humans live a fraction of our lives and can barely do magic. They do not deserve the massive riches they hold. They didn't even sit upon large mineral deposits like the dwarves did. That is why we declared this war, and that is why we will win it. How did you do it? I demanded an answer from the disgusting cretin once more. Simple, really. The insignificant speck struggled to speak. A little bit of friendship. It finished his final sentence before I burned his head off with a fireball spell. "So, how much you pay me to kill this one?" I asked the well-dressed human sitting across me and the others. 75 silver pieces up front, and 90 more if you actually get the job done," he said, tossing a decently sized pouch towards my end of the table. "Not bad." I paused, as I tucked the pouch under my cloak. "You must really want him dead," I finished with a chuckle, as I placed my feet on the table. Humans always paid good money to Dark Elf assassins like me. We were the best in the business after all. "What about me and my boys?" the large orc leader sitting next to me questioned. Apparently, even before the war, humans had hired out orc tribes as extra muscle to deal with various wild monsters such as wyverns and owlbears. 900 pounds of meat, 140 gold, and whatever spoils you can get your hands on during the raid, the human stated. "That'll do," the 7-foot-tall behemoth replied in an almost comical manner. "So, when are we getting our shipments of firearms for our revolution?" A young but aggressive grey elf sitting on the other side. "Depends on when we receive our shipment of newer muskets, so we can hand off the old ones to you," the human said to the grey elf, before turning to a dwarf with a golden helmet. "Aye, you'll be getting them soon free of charge. The knife-heads won't know what hit them," the dwarf said in its typical gruff voice. Ahem. Me and the grey elf looked at the dwarf. "Sorry," the dwarf paused. "I'll get you to some ale later," the dwarf offered. "What about me?" a monstrous voice asked. We all turned to the massive blue dragon. "You help us in the siege of Alive Door 4, and you can have all of the treasure in the city's fortress vault," the human responded. "I find your terms acceptable," the dragon said. "It's good to have friends, isn't it?" the human spoke again. We all nodded in agreement.